We welcome you to this Wednesday edition of the show with so much to talk about over the next 60 minutes. I mean, Tuesday night felt like a week unto itself. We will be joined by Jason Sobel, who does a terrific job on golf, has for a long time covered the game, SiriusXM PGA Tour Radio, CBS Sports HQ, The Athletic. He does it all. We'll talk with him about the Players' Championship later on in the show. Oh, yeah, that's going on this week. The unofficial fifth major of golf. Then we've got our friend Kurt Heelan, Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. Joins us every Wednesday on the show for the NBA Weekly and Bam Adebayo. We'll get to that coming up here in the big story. We'll talk about it with Kurt. 83 points last night. We'll get into that. There's tons of football to talk about. We'll do that. Baseball, the World Baseball Classic. That'll be all the way at the end of the show because that's how jam-packed this thing is today. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right to it. We start out every edition of this show. It's the big story. And the big story today, twofold. One, in the NFL. Trey Hendrickson going to the Baltimore Ravens. But wait, what about Max Crosby? If you missed the news last night, if you were sleeping in a cave, you haven't seen it by now, you probably shouldn't be watching this show. Max Crosby was supposed to be going to the Baltimore Ravens, as we all know. The Ravens sending 2 first-round picks to the Las Vegas Raiders, one in 26, one in 27. And then last night, we get the breaking news, Diana Rossini doing a great job with it from The Athletic, reporting that the Ravens had pulled out of the deal because they didn't like Max Crosby's physical. They said he failed the physical. Now look, there's a bunch of angles we can take on this. One, it's bad business by the Ravens to do something like this because the first 2 days of free agency had basically already taken place on Monday and Tuesday. Teams have already made maneuvers. The Raiders had already made maneuvers. They had already committed a ton of money that now they're kind of losing some of their leverage because Max Crosby is technically still on their roster, and if they want to make another deal to trade away Max Crosby, why is a team going to give them 2 first-round picks when the Raiders are going to be desperate to get rid of Max Crosby just because they have all this salary committed to other players to come and play for them next year? It's a nightmare scenario for John Spytek, the Raiders as an organization. I don't know how they manipulate their way out of this and still get the haul for Max Crosby that they wanted to get. From the Ravens' perspective, look, they win. They get Trey Hendrickson. They would have won if they had Max Crosby. But to me, this feels like a team that got cold feet. It feels like a team that saw all the press about, oh my God, so few teams in the history of the NFL have given up this many first-round picks to get somebody like this. And then they might have looked at the physical and said, hey, maybe this isn't such a good idea. We still have time to pull out of this deal. But to do it the way they did, I actually feel bad for the Raiders. And I don't often say that because this is an organization that's practiced organizational malpractice, as our friend Sam Yarnell likes to use that word, for so long. It's hard to feel bad for a team like the Raiders, but I actually feel bad for them. Because it felt like they had this thing going in the right direction. They were making the right moves in this offseason. The hiring of Clint Kubiak, Tom Brady being more involved, getting Fernando Mendoza with the top pick in the draft, which is likely to happen. And then this whole thing happens. You're like, man, it's just the Raiders. It's just what happens. And it's not even their fault in this instance. I don't know how, if you are a team, though, in the future, looking to make a deal with the Baltimore Ravens, how you ever trust them, because this is like the 3rd or 4th time now that they've done something like this, where they've nixed a deal because of a physical. So I don't know how you trust them anymore. They knew what Max Crosby was. They knew the damage to his knee. And now you back out of the deal? Something doesn't smell right to me. Big story number 2. How about Bam Adebayo? 83 points. Now look, no matter how you want to stack this up, no matter how you might want to talk about the fact that this was a manufactured 83-point game, to some degree in this era of the NBA, and frankly even in Wilt Chamberlain's era of the NBA where he scored 100 points, all of these things to some degree have to take place out of the normal flow of a basketball game. I mean, how many, go and look through the history of 70 and now 80-point games. And go and find me the ones that either weren't blowouts or there wasn't something in the box score where you looked at and went, well, that's not typical of an NBA game. Now, 43 free throws for Bam Adebayo. I want to say that for those of you in the back of the room that couldn't hear me. 43 free throw attempts for Bam Adebayo. And by the way, he still had to make them. A lot of guys in this league don't make their free throws. Bam Adebayo made 36 of his 43 free throws in this game. Not bad for a 7-footer, by the way. And I don't want to rain on his parade because it's still an amazing accomplishment to sit out there and pour all those buckets in. But he was 20 of 40. I think he was like 20 of 43 from the field, something like that. Wasn't the greatest shooting performance of a guy putting up that number. And it might be the most unlikely to ever put up this number, this kind of number. I think Cam Thomas once scored 50 points, and we all were like, Cam Thomas really filled it up for 50? But if you go look through the history of guys that have put up monster games like this, Bam Adebayo might be just the most unlikely you've ever seen. And this is, and now I'm going to bring it all full circle. This is what makes sports amazing. This is why we watch. This is why I do what I do for a living. Why, when I was 17 years old, I said, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Because it's the unknown. You never know on any given night what you're going to see in a sports event. There's always a chance that you might see Bam Adebayo. Who the hell went to a Miami Heat Washington Wizards game, which they probably could have given tickets away for in Miami? Who the hell goes to a Miami Heat game against the Washington Wizards and says, yeah, I'm going tonight because Bam Adebayo is going to score 83 points. It's amazing. No matter how you want to mash it up and say, this was, whether he should have still been on the court in such a blowout game, the Wizards, or rather the Heat fouling Wizards players to get Bam Adebayo more possessions, forcing him the ball the way they were. No matter how you want to stack it up, it's 83 points. So while we can sit here and critique how it happened, just take it all in stride and remember, it's 83 points in an NBA game. It's something you may not ever see again in your lifetime. We're coming back. We've got more to do. NFL talk. Sam Yarnell is here next. Welcome back. Let's talk some NFL and expand upon what we were discussing in the big story. Time for Sam Yarnell to have his say. Kurt Heelan in 10 minutes on Bam Adebayo's big night with 83 points. But let's get into it, Sam. Part of this wild Tuesday night in sports, the Ravens backing out of the Max Crosby deal after he failed a physical. I said it in the big story. I'll be curious to see your thoughts on it. It just felt like they got cold feet and backed out of this thing. And there's a history here with this team doing this. They've done this before. This is like the third time that they've signed somebody or traded for somebody and then failed them in the physical and gotten out of the deal. It feels like there's a little bit of that going on here. It feels like a little chicanery to me. And frankly, if you're a team dealing with the Ravens now, it's buyer beware at this point. It's on you if you decide to go and make a deal with this team because they can pull the rug out from under you. I mean, the Raiders got screwed here.
I did think it was, Jason, very, very fascinating to see the amount of NFL players that went to social media yesterday and talked about other NFL players they knew that had this exact thing happen to that player with that organization. It's wild what, not to say that this is a small drop in a big bucket, but it's wild what kind of straw can break a camel's back. Obviously, Max Crosby being a big straw, but for that to open the floodgates into all of these stories that come out about just truly how horribly run the Baltimore Ravens are, it, like you said, is going to scare 31 teams away from wanting to deal with the Baltimore Ravens. And there's so many levels to this, and we'll get into all of them, but the principle is exactly what you said. The Ravens, as we said on the show yesterday, this is the end of their window. They are showing you that in the moves they're making and the money that they're giving out. This is very clearly the end of their window and their chance to go for it. And now you're annexing every other team in the league with whom you have to do business. It's just, again, the trigger word that I love to use all the time, organizational malpractice to the nth degree going on in Baltimore right now.
But they win either way. I mean, they were going to win whether they got Max Crosby, and they win with getting Trey Hendrickson, which we'll get to here in just a second. From the Raiders' perspective, before we go back to the Ravens, as much as I think they got screwed here, they're still going to have suitors, if you will, for Max Crosby. Somebody's going to make a deal with them. I don't know if they're getting 2 firsts. Maybe it'll be the first and the second. Maybe it's the Cowboys. Maybe if you're Jerry Jones, you're like, oh my God, we still have a chance. It's like the Browns guy in draft day. We could still get Bo Cavanaugh. Yes, you can still have Max Crosby if you are the Dallas Cowboys right now, if the price is right.
That's not the problem, though. The problem is the timing of all of this.
Of course the timing sucks.
This comes a day after the Raiders give out $200+ million in contracts to free agents, assuming that $30 million a year they're paying Max Crosby had come off the books. What does this do to the Tyler Linderbaum deal? Because I'll tell you what, that guy doesn't want to wait to get paid. He's not going to want to wait to reset the centers market the way he just did. This is DEFCON 1 for the Las Vegas Raiders right now, because sure, there may be suitors galore for Max Crosby, but the fact of the matter is you have lost every advantage that you have within the trade pool right now.
You lost the leverage. You clearly lost the leverage because teams know you're going to want to bring in Linderbaum, and they're probably not going to get 2 firsts anymore. That's the reality. But beyond that,
the teams that you're trading with also just gave out a ton of money, so they are much less likely now to move around a bunch of assets after they've already locked down plans. This is a horrible move by the Ravens because it screws over the Raiders and the amazing first day of free agency that they just had. And not only that, Jason, and now we get into the Trey Hendrickson thing. With the Trey Hendrickson deal, it was reported that he already had a handshake agreement going on with Indianapolis. Now, if you're Baltimore, you've not only pulled the rug out from Las Vegas, you've also pulled the rug out from Indianapolis, 2 teams that are up and coming in the AFC and looking to compete. This is a disaster class in asset management and football operations by the Baltimore Ravens.
Well, now they get Trey Hendrickson, and we had our friend Matt Verderam on the show yesterday. And he didn't I think if we asked him right now, I didn't get a chance to text him this morning. He's probably shocked because a 31-year-old Trey Hendrickson, who's had injuries in the past, getting basically a $30 million, up to $30 million a year on a 4-year deal. Wow. Where do I run to get that kind of money if I'm Trey Hendrickson? He has to be thrilled. And look, at the end of the day, the Colts probably weren't willing to give him that much money. If he was talking with the Colts, who would give him that kind of money? Well, we found out it was the Ravens.
I don't think the Colts have that. Again, this is the thing with the timing of all of this. The Colts now on Wednesday don't have the same money that they could have had to give to Trey Hendrickson on Monday morning, right? Because you extended Alec Pierce in historic fashion, and now you've got Daniel Jones holding you hostage for $50 million a year. I mean, this is, again, the Baltimore Ravens are doing irreparable damage to relationships that you cannot do damage to when you are a National Football League team. This is horrible, horrible organizational practice by Baltimore. And Jason, you said it right, 112 over 4. Those are the report. The numbers you need to know is $60 million guaranteed. You're guaranteeing him $15 million a year through his age 35 season. That is not good football, Baltimore.
Nope, it isn't. But he gets it. And now, and I'll tell you what, you look at that division right now, I mean, the Ravens are the team to beat. There's no question about it. They're the team. You could say organizational malpractice, all this. You put it down on paper. I know they lose Isaiah Likely. They still have Mark Andrews. And they've been pillaged a little bit here in free agency. But still, I mean, when you stack up the rest of that division, do you trust the Bengals? No. Do you trust the Steelers? You don't even know who the quarterback of the Steelers is going to be next year. No. Do you trust the Cleveland Browns? No. I mean, it's still it feels like it should be the Ravens division to me, Sam.
Sure, and they can win divisions until the cows come home, Jason, but this is a team that is not going to win when it matters. This is a team that is just built to lose in the playoffs again. Sure, win the AFC North all you want. As long as it continues to be one of the worst divisions in football, who cares?
Worst or competitive? There could be two different things. They could be kind of one and the same. We're talking basketball with Kurt Heelan next. We welcome you back. Let's talk some NBA. We talked about it in the big story. Kurt Heelan is here. Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com is his jam. He was out at the Lakers T-Wolves game last night. I'd imagine a few people were talking about the Bam Adebayo 83-point game, Kurt.
More than a few. I will say it was kind of the weird scene. It was weird being in Kobe's building.
Oh, yeah.
Watching that go down on even out, like I'm watching guys warm up. Like I'm out, talking. That's where a lot of pregame schmoozing happens, right? Like that's where scouts are sitting and coaches from other teams. Everybody's kind of out there talking to each other. Except this game, everybody's literally on their phone watching Bam put up crazy points. And I ended up going back and like trying to get the thing up on my computer so I could see a better version of it. It was wild, the vibe in there during that.
I can only imagine. All right, let's dig into it. 83 points, a phenomenal, achievement. It's the second most points ever scored by a single player in an NBA game, but it didn't take long for the vultures to, basically descend on the carcass here and start digging into how this happened. The way I have described it is it was manufactured in many ways. I've heard you use the term unethical. Sam used that term.
Unethical was a term some of the media and Kobe people in the Laker organization, around the game we're using. I'm with you. I think it was sort of manufactured. And I will look, two things. Well, three things. First off, that was just fun. Like I completely enjoyed watching that happen. And him going after the points. Second, hey, Laker Kobe people, if you want to say that about Bam, then I'm sure you're not a hypocrite. I'm sure you were very mad at Kobe's last game when they were just feeding him the rock and he put up 50 points, 50 shots to get his 60 points, and it was not about winning. It was about feeding Kobe. I'm sure you were ethically opposed to that as well.
But they did win the game, by the way. The Lakers beat the Jazz it was the Lakers Jazz that night, wasn't it?
And Miami won like that. I mean, that was part of it. Like, if it had not been for the record, Bam wouldn't have played.
But fouling,
he had the record after 3 quarters. He could have sat that.
The Heat fouling people to get him more possessions. Yeah. I mean, it's just not a great look all around, And Eric Spoelstra, who's, a student of the game and somebody who you think really respects the game. I think of Greg Popovich when I say that. I'm surprised he let it go that far.
I think that they were in the moment. They were chasing it. And again, I thought it was fun. Like, I actually had more fun watching that than I've had watching a lot of games most games this season. It was different. It was, I think, to use JJ Redick's comment post-game, it was a different kind of basketball. Was how he put it. But I thoroughly enjoyed the experience of it. It was a little manufactured, but you're either in or you're not, and I was in.
Sam, jump in.
Kurt, I was talking to, obviously, me being a Wizards fan, tons of people were coming to me talking about this game last night in the middle of the craziest sports night of all time.
Right.
And my response was, thank God Bam scored 83 points. If he didn't, the Heat might not have won that game. Did you see how they looked? My question for you is, in a day and age of the NBA where tanking has become ever prevalent, more and more every year, but especially in a year like this where the draft is so loaded, do you think that that's going to lead to more records being broken because of guys playing tanking teams?
It's a great question.
It's a great question. I don't know that we're going to see a lot of this, mostly because either in those moments, hey, we're giving, we're playing the Wizards or the Jazz or whomever, Sacramento. We're going to sit our star tonight. Like, we can win this game without them. There's going to be some of that, or trying to get them rest, have them play, 3 quarters and get them out. I think what is challenging is that it leads to some really bad basketball nights, because if you have it's not even bad team versus bad team that's hard to watch, because the players that are going out are trying, right? Like, you don't throw out guys and tell them not to try. You just put out a team that can't win. It's a front office move. Well, that's pretty boring. If the Miami Heat or the Lakers or the Knicks or, name your team that's trying to win games is playing a team that's tanking, and that's a lot of games right now, it's unwatchable. Like, there's been a couple of upsets, and we're all kind of like, whoa, where'd that come from? But, Brooklyn had one last week. There's a couple of those, but most of that stuff is just unwatchable, which is kind of a bigger issue for the league. They're like, their product is becoming, chunks of their product are just like, I'm not tuning in, and I get paid to tune in.
So I guess that's kind of my question then. What does the league do when you're having an unwatchable product, right? A good team versus a tanking team. And within that unwatchable product, you're having records that sow the fabric of the history of this league being broken.
I don't think you're going to see the league. I don't know what they can do. Like, again, Adam Silver talked last week about at Sloan, at the MIT Sloan, analytics conference, and he's like, we're going to make substantial changes, and then he went on to say, all right, we're going to do incremental changes. like it's going to be, I'm an incrementalist, so I don't think you're going to see big moves in the offseason, and I don't know what they can do this season other than try to celebrate moments like this. It's not like they're going to say, hey, bam, that record doesn't count. I mean,
right.
Wilt's 100, by the way, go read about it. It is completely manufactured in the same way they did the Bam thing. That was out of the same playbook.
Hey, but before we got a minute left in this segment, is there a player in the league today that you could ever see, if there was a guy that you could see scoring 100 in a game? Who is it? Who would have the ego to go after that and have the skills? Like, part of it's somebody got to, like, Edwards. Ant might do it. I'm trying, like. Because I don't think Luka,
Shea would go after
I think
that
Luka.
way.
I think Luka has the ego.
Luka's a good call. Like, who's got the? Not only you got to have the skill and have the hot night. And look, Bam had 31 in the first quarter. He was 10 off his personal best in the first quarter. He was just hot. He was just having one of those nights, man. If you got Luka, or I'm trying to think of who else can put up those kind of numbers for a night and just not care and just go full ham.
Yeah, I think Ant-Man is one. Is one. Matt Verderam, SI, does a great job. Check him out also on the Matt Verderam show over on Patreon. Always appreciate you, my friend. Be well. Oh, Jesus. We're coming back. More Kurt Heelan. On that note, we're coming back. All right, we're back. I'm trying to convince Kurt Heelan of Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. I'm trying to buy his vote for Con Kneppel for Rookie of the Year. Since I have a zillion Con Kneppel rookie cards, I'm like, you're voting for Con Kneppel. I love that. Hey, Kurt, I love that house of yours in Long Beach. It'd be a shame if anything happened to it.
I cannot be bought for what you can afford, Jason, is all I'm going to say.
Can I interest you in a Con Kneppel rookie card?
I will say, I will say this on here. I said it off air with you. Right now, he's on top of my board. He's all right. He's playing in meaningful games and playing well, and Cooper's hit the rookie wall or whatever, in a rough situation where they're tanking in Dallas. So right now, Con be my leader.
All right, that's what I like to hear. Let's keep it that way. Look, you cannot throw Jaylen Brown out of this game last night if you're the officials. Especially when you're the official that's standing, 30 feet away from where Jaylen Brown's talking to the official about and we can sit here and argue whether it's the right call, the wrong call. This is your game on NBC. Like, guys have to exercise a little bit of discretion here. I'm pumped up to watch the Celtics and the Spurs, and they toss Jaylen Brown? Come on, Kurt.
It seemed a little soft and quick to me, and I've only seen the replays again. I was at the other game. I didn't, and was locked in on Bam, so I actually didn't see a ton of the Celtics game. But it was, from what I've seen, that seemed soft. Like, it just seemed kind of quick. And you're right. I think in big games with star players, look, man. I can get why you're frustrated with Luka or a host of other guys who complain constantly. Like, I get it. But in a big game with a star player, the rules should be different. It's just the way it is.
Kurt, elsewhere in the East, we got the news maybe at the beginning of this week, maybe it was last week, that Tyrese Maxey's got this finger injury, I guess. He's going to be down for a while. Obviously, the Sixers have fallen pretty far. They're in, the 8th seed right now? They're just barely hanging on. How far can they fall without Tyrese Maxey? I know we talked about how good VJ Edgecombe is, but not having Maxey, how far can they fall? And, what is their answer this offseason?
I will tell, the first part's easy. They can fall to the 10 seed really easy. And remember, the difference between 8 and 10 is it's much harder to get out of the playoffs if you're 9 or 10.
Yeah.
You've got to win 2 games to get out. They're the 8th seed. The 2 teams behind them are Charlotte, who's hot and playing well and focused, and they're only, I think a game back? Yeah, I'd have them look. 2.5 back is Atlanta. Or not Atlanta. Is it Atlanta 10?
Flip them. Atlanta's a game back, Charlotte's 2.5.
Atlanta's won 7 in a row.
Yep.
So, the teams are coming hard behind them. And by the way, the other team that impacts, Milwaukee, who's trying to, Giannis comes back, they're trying to climb into this thing, and good luck. You got to catch these teams that I don't think you can catch. So I'm curious how long before Giannis gets the plug pulled on him, but that's a Giannis call. He gets to make that call, not the team. If Philadelphia could fall really far, and then the offseason, that's a really good question, because the reality is they know they need to start flipping this thing around to the new timeline with Edgecombe and Maxey and a young core of nice players. And I would argue, and I've had this conversation with people, Embiid might be the most untradeable contract in the league right now. It is so big and so long. And he's great when he plays. Don't get me wrong. In fact, he's probably the first, he'll be back before Maxey or, Paul George comes off suspension probably. But you would have to attach picks to that contract to get a team to take it right now.
I'm going to tell you, though, if they do come through the play-in or whatever it is, if I'm Detroit, I do not want to see Philadelphia. No. If you have George, Maxey, Edgecombe, Embiid, I do not want to see that in my 1-8 matchup if I'm the Detroit Pistons.
How many times this season have they had Paul George, VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid on the floor?
But they might. That's the only time they need them.
It's a limit. I want to say 4 or 5 games. It's a really limited number. It's kind of crazy how small it is. But when they're mostly healthy, they've had some big wins. There's the core of a good team in there. They just can't keep everybody on the floor.
How many times have the Lakers
healthy somehow?
But how many times have the Lakers had LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves on the court together this year?
I've watched the Lakers beat up on your Knicks and now beat the Timberwolves 2 straight games without LeBron. And I'm not saying the Lakers are better without LeBron.
Yeah, you're not the first person to make this argument. I know.
They're much closer to the team they need to be around Luka when you play. Those 2 wins. Yes, Marcus Smart and Rui played well on the wing and all that. They got engaged DeAndre Ayton. Go ahead and bet on that continuing all you would like. But that said, when they put the whole thing together, That's another team where like they're fourth in the West right now.
Hey, I got a minute left. Spurs have won 16 of 17. Are they going to win the West or not?
No, I still like Oklahoma City. But that's a really good series. Oklahoma City made its point this week. They beat Boston. No Caruso, no J-Dub, no Hartenstein, no Chet in that game. They're still the best team. They still have they don't only have the best player and the future, the MVP in Shea. Is it time we start talking about Shea as just the best player walking the face of the earth? Is he better than Jokic right now?
No. I don't think so. I think it's close. I think it's a conversation, but it's close. I know Sam would say Jokic.
I would say Jokic, but I do think it is a conversation for maybe the first time ever.
Yeah, Shea's a better defender. Like it's a conversation.
We'll hash this out in the extended conversation. Kurt Heelan, always appreciate you, my friend. Be well.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome back to the show. Let's talk golf. And anytime I can get my man Jason Sobel, it's a good day. And there he is, the one and only. Sirius XM PGA Tour Radio, CBS Sports HQ, The Athletic. He's like me. We've worked for everybody. We've cycled through all of them by now. It's what we do. So, a lot of questions going into this Players' Championship, Jason, and I want to begin with the one that sticks out in my mind. The two guys that I'm looking at here, obviously, and if you're looking at the odds for all of this, you're talking about Rory McIlroy, you're talking about Scottie Scheffler. In the case of McIlroy, he pulls out after the second round with a back injury. What do we know about it right now?
Yeah, so first of all, great to be on with you, Paige. As always, we've been doing this for a long time now.
We're
breaking
old.
down golf tournaments together, so always good to be on with you. Look, Rory was scheduled to speak this morning, and I will be honest that I haven't seen it yet, so I'm going to go through and listen to what he said, but I didn't think it was great when he withdrew from the Arnold Palmer Invitational last Saturday morning for reportedly precautionary reasons going into the Players' Championship. That doesn't feel like it jibes for me, Jason, because it's one thing if he withdraws from the Valero Texas Open because the Masters is the next week and he wants to protect himself. I understand that. To withdraw from Bay Hill when he was kind of in contention, he was 4 under going into the weekend, to be ready for the Players' Championship, which I don't know if you've heard, isn't actually a major. To me, that feels a little strange that Rory would essentially give up one tournament to be prepared for another one. So I think it's a little more than he was letting on to. I think the fact that he didn't show up Monday and Tuesday probably tells us that. I think he's probably going to try to tee it up. I have not seen what he's said so far. And again, I believe he was speaking this morning, so I'm going to go check that out. That said, I expect him to play, and I expect him to be a little uncomfortable, and I don't expect him to go back-to-back. How's that?
Do you think the odds makers have sort of baked that into the price at 18-1?
Yeah, no doubt at that number. He has drifted throughout the week because no one wants to jump on a guy with a bad back. And Scotty's kind of remained where he is. Scotty not playing his best golf right now, which is okay. Look, C- golf for Scottie Scheffler is still better than most of the other players out there. And I liked what he had to say in his press conference on Tuesday, Jay. He said, first 3 days, the irons were okay. On Sunday, they were really good. That's as good as I've hit the irons all year, other than the one I got stuck in the tree and the one that I hit in the pond. That sounds like me and you. That sounds like me and you sitting in the 19th hole going, other than that one I hit in the tree that's still up there, I saw it though. I know that's mine. And then I hit that one in the water, but that one did that. That was, I wasn't even trying on that one. Other than that, dude, I played awesome today.
That's like Stanley Golf Course on the 5th hole. I hit one in the water. Other than that, it was all right. What do you attribute sort of, he came flying out of the gates and then sort of the lull that we've seen Scotty in right now?
I think it's just golf. I think golf is a cyclical game. And what I've always thought is that for the best players in the world, it's less cyclical than it is for other players. And that, look, if you're the 50th ranked player in the world, like you're trying to hit when the roller coaster is going up and you're on the upswing, you're trying to hit for 3, 4, 5 events in a row instead of 1 or 2. And I've always thought the best players can sort of ride that wave for longer. Scottie Scheffler's been able to ride that wave ostensibly for about 4 years. I mean, obviously there's some ebbs and flows between that. Right now, that roller coaster is on the way down. Can it go back up in a hurry? Absolutely. That's what separates, again, the best players from everybody else. If this was, like I said, the 50th ranked player, the 100th ranked player in the world, I'd probably be more worried about them moving forward just because it's harder for a guy like that to go find it right away and start playing great golf again. For Scotty Scheffler, he's able to find it. And again, that's what separates these guys. That's why he's one of the best.
All right, when you're looking at the rest of the field this week, because it always feels like it's Scotty, Rory, and then the rest of the field, as you examine the rest of the field and who has the best shot at winning this thing, who sticks out to you?
I am very much in the majority this week, and I haven't seen anybody who doesn't like Colin Morikawa. If the question is who the best golfer in the world is, it's still Scotty. Rory's right behind him. Everybody else is a distant third and beyond. If the question is who's playing the best golf right now, granted, it's a very fluid question. We can interpret this in many different ways. In my eyes, though, if we look at it over a 3-4 week span, Colin Morikawa is playing better golf than anybody else. He's a high-level iron player, so we know that he's going to be dialed in with those shots. He hits a lot of fairways. And that putter is heated up. He doesn't need to be the best putter in any given field. As long as he's better than the majority, he's going to give himself a chance to win. For me, I love Colin Morikawa this week. There's a reason why his number in the betting markets has gotten shorter over the last 3 days because everybody else likes him as well. Other potential outrights for me, Victor Hovland, who's playing some good golf. The approach play is really good right now. Minwoo Lee looks like a different player. He's this guy that likes to have fun on social media, and people follow him with chef's hats, and he says, let him cook and all this. That's fun. He looks like a more serious, mature player this year. Wouldn't surprise me to see him in the mix on Sunday, and maybe a couple of others that aren't quite long shots, but a little further back. Sepp Straka I like this week. Sahith Theegala. And how about Ricky Fowler? 11 years after he won this golf tournament, he's like his 17th year as a pro. Nothing makes you feel older than hearing that about a guy like Ricky Fowler. Playing some really good golf right now, though.
If I didn't get out a Tiger question at you, because I don't get to talk to you as often as I used to, will Tiger play the Masters? What do you think?
The fact that he hasn't even played a TGL event yet is probably not a great sign. If he can't go in there in the dome in the simulator and just sort of walk around a little bit and hit some golf shots, I don't have a great feeling that he's going to be ready a month from now. That said, he wants to, and he's going to do everything it takes. And there's a little showmanship in Tiger these days. So if he can not hit a ball in TGL and not play anywhere else, then all of a sudden show up at Augusta and say, I'm ready. It'd be pretty cool. So I'm rooting for him. I'd like to see him play, but I don't think I'd like to see him play and shoot 82 either. So I'd like to see him if he can go out there and play well.
Jason Sobel does great work, SiriusXM PGA Tour Radio, The Athletic, CBS Sports HQ. I always appreciate you, my friend. Let's do it again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, buddy.
Just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Wednesday. Tomorrow on the show, Andrew Marchand from The Athletic. Talk about the world of sports media with him. Dennis Bernstein should be here too. Does a great job on the NHL, SiriusXM NHL Radio. Host over there. Boy, it has been a busy week. It felt like a busy week in one night, Tuesday. And it's carried into Wednesday. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast, available on all your favorite podcasting platforms. 45 minutes, this show, available Monday through Friday in its audio form. Go and subscribe to the podcast. It is fantastic. Listen to it on your way to work, on the treadmill, in the shower, at the gym, whatever you may be doing. The podcast is fantastic. Also, the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. This is the place for all things Sports Wrap with Jason Page. The Monday through Friday TV version of the show. There, commercial free, 45 minutes early each afternoon. Go and subscribe to that. We also have extended clips from the show. You saw Kurt Heelan on the show today. The conversation goes way beyond what you saw. It's available in our Sports Wrap NBA Weekly, which is available on the YouTube channel. Go and subscribe to that. Also, Sports Wrap Shorts. News breaks. We jump in with Sports Wrap Shorts. These are 1 to 3 minute long videos recapping top stories when they break. Also, the biggest games every night. Sports Wrap Shorts available on the YouTube channel. Also available on our TikTok, Sports Wrap Jason Page, and on our Instagram, you guessed it, Sports Wrap Jason Page. And without any further delay on this Wednesday edition of the show, it's time for some odds. and ends. Odds and ends, Sam Yarnell. Take a victory lap, my friend. I should have just had you do the entire segment by yourself, solo box, because I know you want to gloat. I know you want to pat yourself on the back. Don't hurt your shoulder doing it. Might tear a rotator cuff. You have been down on this USA baseball team, and they lose to Italy last night, which tells you how busy of a sports day this has been. Arguably the biggest upset in the history of the World Baseball Classic. It's in the last segment of the show. Italy. How do you say, do you believe in miracles in Italian? I have no idea. 8-6 the final. Italy beats the U.S., and now the U.S. will need help on Wednesday in order to make it to the knockout stage, Sam Yarnell.
Yeah, Jason. I'm not going to sit here and be happy that the team that I'm rooting for lost, right? It's not like I don't root for USA baseball at the end of the day, but you know, one of the most disappointing days in that organization's history yesterday, from a manager who didn't understand the situation of the tournament that he's playing in. Yeah, by the way, Mark DeRosa, kiss any shot you ever had at a major league job. Goodbye. To the pitching staff, just once again, right? This is what happens when the best players in the world from your country don't actually take anything seriously. You end up with Ryan Yarbrough as the first arm out of the bullpen, right? And Nolan McLean, a guy who hasn't even started 30 games in the major leagues, starting for Team USA. They got what they deserved. They had this coming for them, right? So many tweets. Go through and look at the birthplaces of the Team Italy lineup and the guys who pitched for them last night. It's like Ohio, New Jersey, Florida. This is the Team USA freshman team that they just lost to. Every single player who played in that game for Italy yesterday would have been eligible to play for Team USA, but they chose to play for Team Italy because they wanted to represent a country that was actually going to back them and have fun with the tournament, unlike the USA, man. And it just goes to show you, these players for the USA, they don't give a crap about this tournament. They're doing irreparable damage to the young baseball lifestyle in the United States of America. You know, as somebody who grew up watching WBCs, I will never ever forget where I was as a young baseball player watching Adam Jones make an incredible catch off a batted ball from Manny Machado on a pitch thrown by Tyler Clippard, right? I can remember it down to a T because those were guys going out and making plays, showing that they loved their country and USA Baseball as an organization, and you can't say the same about this team on the field this year.
Tyler Clippard, former Yankee prospect, by the way.
Former National,
yes,
baby.
Of course. But I remember him because I was working at like Sirius XM back in the day when Tyler Clippard was a Yankees prospect. And I was like, Tyler Clippard's going to be great. You guys just wait. How did that work out? Yeah, and you know what the crazy thing is? U.S. could still make it in. Kudos to Ben Verlander, by the way, who posted like the most easy to understand scenario on how the U.S. gets in. They need Mexico to score 5 runs or more. Italy, if Italy beats Mexico, that would be the easiest scenario. But otherwise, they need Mexico to score 5 runs or more in order to get in. We'll see if it happens. Obviously, if not, Sam will be here to gloat even further on Thursday's edition of the show. Real quick, we got to go. Big news out of the NFL. Daniel Jones, 2-year deal with the Colts for $88 million. It could be worth up to $100 million, Sam Yarnell. Daniel Jones, get your bag.
Yeah, congratulations. I guess this is what happens when you hold an NFL team hostage.
There you go. He got his money. Pay that man his money. And Hofstra, congratulations, Sam Yarnell. The Pride, they are going to the NCAA tournament.
My Pride are going dancing, Jason, for what should be the 3rd time in the last 25 years. I'm just so happy for the school, so happy for the program. Speedy Claxton, first guy in CAA history, led the team to the CAA championship as a player, as an assistant coach, and as a head coach. Truly incredible stuff on Long Island.
Shout out to my boy Evan Wilner, the Pride of Hofstra, my former producer from my days in Hartford. That's going to do it for us. We'll catch you back here on Thursday for an all-new edition of Sports Wrap. I'm Jason Page. Bye-bye. Hi there. I'm Jason Page. You like what you're watching? Subscribe. We've got Sports Wrap Shorts on this channel. We've got the show. We've got clips from the show. What else do you have to do? You probably follow a lot of other things that aren't half of as they're not half as exciting as this show is. So what are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button, follow the channel, watch the content. Bye.